Hi, I'm Melinda Van Fleet, and welcome to the Good Karma Success Coach podcast. I'm an author, speaker, and success coach who helps women believe in themselves, build confidence, and take action. In 2009, my husband Ryan and I were laid off at the same time, and we moved to the Florida Keys without jobs, not knowing anyone, hardly any money, and we never even been here. But we made it. And now, not every day is sunshine and rainbows, but we're living our best lives. All along in our journey, I've always said that someday when we get our shit together, we will help others. So each week, my intent is to be relatable and bring you tactical tips, tools, share my learnings and stories that can help inspire or transform you wherever you are in your career or general life and make an impact. I strongly believe that if I can do it, you can do it too. So what's stopping you? Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's Good Karma Success Coach podcast. And thank you in advance for joining me. I am always grateful that you are joining me because I know there's a lot of choices. So thank you. And a lot of people are on consumption overload and overwhelm, which is also why I'm going to say thank you for listening to my podcast. So I may be sounding a little hypocritical with this podcast because here we are having a podcast. But I really hope that my thought process today and what I'm going to share resonates with some people out there, even if it's just one person. I know I've helped someone today, and I know that's how a lot of coaches and teachers feel. Like, at least if we help one person, that other person can help another person, and so on. The premise of this podcast is to talk about distractions in the channel of spirituality, or in the space, I should say, of spirituality. And I've talked about distractions on the Good Karma Success Coach podcast regarding work and being an entrepreneur and social media. And I'll put the links to that podcast in the show notes. And I did one even a few months ago. So I'll put both of those in the show notes. And if you don't listen to my other podcast is called Crush It in Sales. And that podcast is typically more business and sales related. So it's a really big topic. The topic of distractions, the topic of content consumption, the topic of overwhelm, which can also lead to anxiety. And a lot of people are there. So if you are one of those people, first of all, I want you to know that you are not alone. And moving through those feelings is a journey. So give yourself grace. I have actually had a lot of experience with this, not to a point of extreme overwhelm or anxiety, but just experience in understanding what works for me, what feels good, what do I need, what don't I need, and really moving forward. And again, it's a journey. It's a journey that you will probably be on your entire life, but you can get stronger and better in your knowing in this journey. So when I started in this space, and actually it's really funny, I attribute really learning about all these people and seeing what's out there when I got a Samsung phone when my husband and I started Jimmy Jigs. So gosh, I don't know, back in 2017. If you follow me, you know I was not on social media, so I didn't pay attention to any of this stuff, right? And I finally get a Samsung phone, and I started going, oh, wow, I can listen to Grant Cardone, because I knew who Grant Cardone was. I had found his book 10X at the airport in one of my travels for work. And I was like, oh, I'm so Grant Cardone as a female. So I immediately was like, oh my gosh, there's someone else out there like me that's a hustler. So I immediately bought all of Grant Cardone's sales things. I even was in his big business course. It was the first time I'd ever paid $1,000 for something. And I was like, oh my God, $1,000. But now I've definitely paid more than $1,000. It's like chump change. But anyhow, So that was the start of my journey into content consumption. And then obviously got into coaching myself and now a content creator. So again, it's a journey, right? And you listen to people and then you move on from people. So I don't listen to Grant Cardone anymore. I think I follow him on Twitter. That's it. But you start to understand someone's message and you embody it. You embody the pieces that you like or you don't like. And then often, if that person's not really moving in the way that you wish to move, you move on from them. Another really great example, someone that I've talked about before and I admire all of these people and respect them, so please know that, is Gabby Bernstein. I used to really follow Gabby Bernstein. I did her spiritual, I can't remember the name of it. I think it was $2,000 back in 2018. Her Spirit Junkie Masterclass, that's it. And at the time, that was great for me. I don't follow Gabby Bernstein anymore. No reason, just her content. I don't need it anymore, right? I've moved on from it. She tends to talk more about trauma. That is not something that I feel I need help with. So she has an amazing audience that really relates to her, and that's great. So knowing that it's okay to move on from people is really, really, really important as you go on this journey. So how do I put this? Often we can get stuck in thinking that we need to keep consuming, because that is what's going on out there with people keep putting out more and more content, right? So it's training our brains that we need to keep consuming. So what I wanted to share today, besides those ones I just shared, is that when you meet someone like me who is a Gen Xer, I'm 50, I'm going to be 51 in a couple weeks. We didn't grow up with any of this stuff. I didn't even know what manifestation was or the law of attraction. I didn't know any of those things. And when I look back at my life and all that I've accomplished and all the magical things that happened for me, all the opportunities, all that stuff was happening for me without watching a YouTube video. It just happened. I had a desire, a vision, a thought, a dream, a goal, however you want to bucket it. Again, it doesn't matter. A want even. And I wished it and I worked towards it and it happened. I didn't have to listen to 5 gazillion YouTubes. I didn't have to buy a $1,000 course, a $2,000 course, a $10,000 coach. None of those things. It all happened. It happened. If it was aligned with God and the universe and the time was right, it happened. And I know I've talked about this before, but I just don't know when. So if someone has heard this before in a podcast, because it's probably been a while, a great example that I can share with you is when I was in college, I wanted to work for Saks Fifth Avenue and I wanted to live in New York. The path that I thought was going to happen was that I was going to go to New York City to study at FIT, which is the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York City. It's in Manhattan, my junior year. And I was working towards that, but I failed chemistry, so I could not go. And I kind of gave up on that dream. I also wanted to work for Saks Fifth Avenue, as I mentioned. So after going through interview processes and applying for jobs, I ended up getting a job interview at Saks Fifth Avenue at the store on Michigan Avenue in downtown Chicago. I rented a car, I drove there. It was to work at the jewelry counter. And the manager of the jewelry counter was like, no, you have way too much qualifications for this job, so I didn't get it, right? What ends up happening, I graduate in 1993 from Purdue. January of 1996, So literally, 2.5 years later, if I do the math, from June of 2003 to January of 2006, I ended up getting a job with Saks Fifth Avenue in the buying office in New York City, in Manhattan. 2.5 years later, after that interview, 3.5 years later, 4 years later, however you want to put the time, but less than 5 years, magical things came together and I ended up getting that job with Saks Fifth Avenue in New York. So 2 things manifested together. It was a better creation than me standing at a jewelry counter or me going to FIT my junior year of college and missing out on all the fun things I was having at Purdue, and I was having fun. So, what? It wasn't based on someone's course. It wasn't based on watching YouTube. It wasn't even based on reading a book. Nothing. Zero, zip. I put it out there to God as a dream, as like, God, I really want to work for Saks Fifth Avenue. I really want to work for New York, live in New York. And it happened. The timing happened when God and the universe had it come together. So many of us, and believe me, I have been there too, even with that nugget of a magical thing happening. And believe me, I have so many more stories like that. But I have still gotten caught up in buying like courses and huge manifestation courses. Like what? And nothing has happened faster than what God wants it to happen in perfect timing with the universe. So consuming and trying to talk to the divine and meditating gazillion times a day and being in this Facebook group and posting in this Facebook group and doing all this is not going to get you anywhere faster. It's actually probably likely just clogging up your energy. And if you spent more time actually doing the actions that will bring you to that next level and whatever that divine timing is, that's going to work out better for you. And you're going to feel better, people, and probably not spend as much money. Let's be honest. So when I got into this space, yeah, I got caught up in that too. I got caught up in, I'm going to call it money making FOMO. Following people that are like, oh, I'm a millionaire and blah, 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 blah. Good for them. I like it. And I'm not saying anything negative about those people because it is inspirational. But that might not be my journey. I don't know. We don't know those things. But what I do know is my life is very happy and protected. I'm very blessed with where we live, with our health, with I have an amazing relationship with my husband and my family. We've been able to pretty much do what we want to do or need to do. It all somehow works out. Yes, is, everything crossed off on my dream list? No, but that's okay. I'm only 51. So what the heck, right? So stopping some of this content consumption, especially where you're spending all this money, you're making someone else really wealthy. And like I said, I've been there. I have no resentment against any of that. It's just an awareness that I want to bring to the table if someone else out there is struggling. Someone else out there is in this space thinking, oh, I need to buy this. I need to do this. I need to do this for this to happen faster. I'm going to tell you, it's probably not going to happen. It's probably not going to happen. It's in God's hands. Your journey is your journey. Do the work. If you wish to buy one of those courses, I am still grateful for them in different aspects, right? I'm grateful that it's taught me this lesson, and I have picked up some tips here and there and a lot of validation. But would I say that you have to do those courses in order to manifest something? Absolutely not. You don't. And that's my point. You don't. Things are going to happen in the timing that it's meant to happen if you just do the work. Do the work with a positive attitude, work through as much of your junk as you can work through, which is great reason to hire a private coach, whether it's time management, whether it's overwhelm, triggers, comparison, judgment, all of that junk, that's the stuff that you want to work on. If you're someone that is struggling with trauma, definitely hire a trauma expert coach. That's what you want to work on. So when you work on clearing all of that out of your energy, and then you have these desires out there, goals, dreams, wants, whatever, that's when things will start to line up. But you also have to do the work. You have to do the work. When I think about even these past couple years, like everything's like a step in a process. Everything. When I think about my writing journey, when I think about speaking, when I think about all these things, and now I'm having a conversation with a company, and when I think about the journey that I've been on, I couldn't be having this conversation with this company a year ago. I wouldn't have been a match. I wouldn't have been a match. And there's lots of reasons there that I'll talk about someday. But I'm just sharing this example. But I've done the work. I've worked through the journey, through the process, through triggers, through getting over myself and things that I would think, and now I'm ready, right? So the universe popped something into my LinkedIn feed, and it's a match, and I feel really good. So again, I'm recording this podcast for the person out there that is like thinking they need to keep watching every freaking YouTube video, buying every course, buying every book, listening to every podcast. Like, just do the work. Do the work. Work on yourself. Find the tools that you need to work on yourself for the things that you know aren't really yummy and delicious. And do that piece of work. Do that piece of work. And then do the actual work, the actual studying, the tactical thing you need to do, right? And then things will start to line up as you're inching your way towards those goals, doing the work towards those goals. If you need help, please contact me. I really want to help people with this. I know there's some other people out there online that are speaking up about this type of concept, but they're doing it in a very polarizing way. So I'm glad to see this topic starting to bubble up, because I especially like Facebook. Oh my gosh, I had 4 people friend me today on Facebook, and I looked at each of their accounts, and they're all manifestation coaches. And I'm like, oh God. And I'm sure they probably hardly have any clients. So it's just such a big thing that's going on out there. And I'm speaking from experience, and I'm so glad I worked through this. So if you need help, please reach out to me. It is a hamster wheel. It is a hamster wheel. But you have the power within you to stop it. Focus on what feels good, what content you like, what activities you like. Take some time by yourself in quiet and write. The divine will speak to you through that silence, through the silence. Just think and just be and feel. And journal if you're a journaler, and be like, okay, this feels good to me. This does not feel good to me. And this needs to go. This needs to go. I gave up tarot card readings back in August. One of the best things I've ever done, because I was watching too many tarot card readers on YouTube. So again, I'm speaking from experience. I was like, this does not serve me. This is sucking up my time and my brain waves. And it's also showing the universe that I'm not trusting, because I'm always looking to a tarot card reader for what's my week going to be like. Had to stop. And I stopped cold turkey, and I have not listened to any of them since. So if I can do it, you can do it too. So on that note, I'm going to close out this podcast. Feel free to email me at melinda@melindavanfleet.com. If you know someone else out there that is obsessing and is on manifestation, law of attraction overload, please share this podcast. Please help that other person because it is real. And I really appreciate you listening. So until next week, be grateful, be curious, always be learning, and you know what? Have some fun too. Thank you.